All right. So we last time we talked about the 1920s changing for women, and it changed pretty dramatically for women. Today we're going to talk about another group that was really dramatically changed in the 1920s, and that's African Americans. So let's start with big number D, and we're going to go with the Great Migration. The Great Migration. All right. So the Great Migration is the movement of African Americans from the South into other parts of the country. It's the movement of African Americans from the South into other parts of the country. Hey, Maddie, haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. All right, so we're on D. Maddie, we're on D, and D is the Great Migration. The definition for that is the movement of African Americans from the South into the other parts of the country. Okay, so the Great Migration happens in two big waves. Happens in two waves. The first wave is happening from 1915 to 1940. 1915 to 1940, and the second wave is happening after 1940, so 1940 to 1970. Those are our two big waves. Okay, the first wave has about 2 million African Americans move, and the second wave has about 5 million African Americans move. So it's a big number. It's one of the largest migrations in world history, actually. Of a peaceful migration of people within a country. It's a really big movement. Okay, so I'm going to give you some cities. In the first wave, they moved into these cities. So next to your first wave, I'm going to give you a list of like 5 or 6 cities. Jimena, do you have those cities? Do you have them from when we did them in class?
Which one?
The cities from the first wave.
I gotta look. I don't think so.
Okay. All right, so double check. If you don't have them, then add them into yours now, okay?
Well,
all right, so the cities that they move into: New York, Chicago, Detroit, New York, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Philadelphia, Baltimore. Okay, New York, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Philadelphia, Baltimore. All of those cities go from having a very low Black population to having a very large Black population. And this is a huge transforming time for America. And what you need to put in your notes is the next line down with a bullet point is you need to say transforms the North. For the first time, the North has Blacks. The North has African Americans for the very first time. For most of American history up until this point, African Americans really only lived in the South. And they didn't live all over the country. They lived in that one part of the country. And so most of the country was able to kind of just ignore the racism, right? And just kind of ignore it and just pretend, hey, it's not our problem, it's a Southern problem. Right? Like, so most Northerners were able to just kind of not care about it. And they would just say, oh yeah, Georgia and Alabama, they have the Negro problem is what they would call it, the Negro problem, right? And that's the issue of Blacks and whites living together, right? Where the North was able to say, oh, well, not a problem, not our problem. But now the North is going to have to learn to live with each other. Right? Because the North is now going to get, for the first time ever, a Black population. In the second wave, let's give you the cities for the second wave. The second wave goes to all the same cities that I just told you, plus they also go out west. They go to Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Phoenix, Denver. So Phoenix, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Denver, and Phoenix. Okay. So again, at this point, this is the first time the Western states get a significant population of Black people. The Western states prior to this had never really had a big population of Blacks. In the West, it was mostly just like whites, Latinos, and Asians, right? So now it's whites, Latinos, Asians, and Blacks, and Native Americans also. Okay, so what do you guys expect is going to be the problem here? Okay, this is going to cause two big changes to American culture. One of them is going to be a real problem, and one of them is going to be good. So what would you expect? What do you think? What's going to be either the good one or the problem? The good one or the bad one? What do you expect?
Resources?
Resources, like they're going to run out of food and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not going to happen because we're making a lot of food now. Say it again, Sam.
Racism in the North.
Yeah, that's our bad one. Racism in the North is going to be real problematic. Okay, for the first time in U.S. history, we're going to start getting large like race riots and stuff. So let's put the big problem is racism in the North is going to increase. Here's our best examples. In 1919 is something called Red Summer. Red Summer. And Red Summer is the summer of 1919, and it's where we get massive violence all across the entire country. And it's all racial violence where African Americans are moving into neighborhoods, and then the whites are freaking out, and the whites are, attacking them and hurting them. This is a scene from Chicago where all these white guys are coming out here trying to kick all the Black men out of their homes. But there happens in all sorts of places. Here's a map of all the riots that happened in the summer of 1919. Okay, Chicago's the worst one. Chicago kills 38 people and has 2,000 people made homeless, right? But look at all these riots all up and down the East Coast through here. The South always has them, right? The South it's like normal for the South almost. This is more than normal. This is a bigger number, but the South kind of always has this kind of stuff. The North is where we really see a big change, and Chicago is the worst. Okay, so we're going to start getting a lot of racial violence. A lot of racial violence in the North. Okay, the other part of that as well is that the KKK is going to rise up again, but this time the KKK is across the entire country. And so the KKK is going to start doing demonstrations in New York, in Boston, in Philadelphia. Here's a picture of the KKK having a parade in Washington, D.C. Okay, they're no longer just hiding in the backwoods of Alabama and Mississippi. They're now marching through the cities of the North as well. Okay, and look at these numbers here. The KKK reaches 4 million people. Okay, do you guys know how many people are in Utah today? What's the population of Utah? Do you guys have any idea?
Last time I heard, I think it was like 4.8 mil.
Yeah, I don't think we're quite that much. We're about 3 million. We're about 3 million as far as I know, about 3 million. So this means the KKK is larger than Utah. And we're like kind of an average state, right? This means there's more people than, a lot of states. Yeah, so this is really bad, really bad. The good thing is, so let's put the next line down. The good thing from the African Americans moving up, the good thing is that we're going to get cultural mixing. We're going to get cultural mixing, so it's going to increase creativity for music and for art and for all sorts of stuff like that. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the good stuff later, but I'm going to get one more bad thing out of the way before we move on to that, and it's a pretty bad story. All right, so let's go to big number E. E, we're going to call it the Tulsa Race Massacre. The Tulsa Race Massacre in Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right. So if you've been doing the assignments on Canvas, you'll see that if you look in the blue section, there's a bunch of assignments on the Tulsa Race Massacre that I connected them to the Tulsa Museum, right? And you like read about it and answer some questions. I don't think any of you guys have done those assignments yet. Have you? I don't think so. Jimena, did you? I don't remember if you did or not. You did? Okay.
I finished them.
Okay. So Tulsa, Oklahoma is Tulsa Race Massacre. So underneath here, let's set the stage. Tulsa, Oklahoma was a boom town. This means that it was growing really, really rapidly because of oil. They discovered oil there. And so because they discovered oil, people were moving in from all over the country to come in and drill for oil. So it's a boom town. With this, a large Black population moved into Tulsa, right? Coming in from other states, they moved into Tulsa because they wanted jobs. This Black population in Tulsa is going to become one of the wealthiest African-American populations in the United States. In fact, they get called Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street. Their neighborhood is called Black Wall Street, and they're one of the wealthiest African-American neighborhoods in the country. Now, if you're going to get a big population of African-Americans moving in, and those African-Americans are going to start making money, I think we know what's going to happen with the white population, right? Right? The white population is going to have violence. It's going to cause violence. So we're going to meet Dick Rowland, a boy named Dick Rowland. Our story starts with a boy named Dick Rowland, Rowland. I can put it in the chat for you guys. All right, so we have a boy named Dick Rowland, and Dick Rowland, and I'm saying boy because I think he's 15 at the time of this story, so he is a boy, and he is a delivery boy, and he's a delivery boy. He's delivering things in Tulsa, and so he's in downtown Tulsa, and he is just making deliveries in the city hall, right? They have like the courthouse and the city hall, you know, where the mayor works and all that stuff. And so he's making some deliveries there, and he needs to go to the bathroom. It's a segregated state, so the only bathroom he can use is the colored bathroom. They have a separate bathroom for Blacks and for whites. And so he has to go up onto the top floor, and he has to go all the way to the edge, the far side of the building, and that's the only bathroom he's allowed to use. So he does that. He goes up the elevator, he goes over, he goes to use the bathroom. On his way down, he meets a girl in the elevator named Sarah Page. Now, Sarah Page is also quite young. I think she's 17 or 18 at this time. And she's in the elevator. She screams out that Dick Rowland is trying to attack her and that he's trying to rape her and trying to attack her. And when the elevator opens up and she's like screams out that Dick Rowland tries to attack her, the security guards and the police officers, they arrest Rowland. They arrest Rowland and they take him away. Now, we haven't really talked very much about lynching in my class, but now's the time we need to. Here's the word you need: lynching. Do any of you guys know what lynching is? Maddie, can you tell us what it is?
So it's a morbid act. Basically, it takes like, so lynching is when white people or people who oppose a certain race decide to tie somebody up and torture them until they die.
Okay.
And
so,
sort of like their act of getting justice for something that basically isn't
right. So it's not
need justice.
Yeah, it's not justice, but the white people claim that it's justice. The white
Yeah.
people will claim it's justice, but there is no actual justice here. Yeah, so lynching is a type of murder. It's a category of murder. It's a type of murder, and it's a type of murder where a large group of usually white people will attack an individual black person or a couple of black people, usually a black man. It's almost always black men, and they attack them publicly, and they publicly torture them, and then they publicly kill them, usually hanging them in a tree. And they leave the body out as a message to the rest of the community. Okay, so it's an act of terrorism is what it is that you're using murder to send a political message to everybody. Okay, so it's not just murder. Like most murders are like personal, like individual people, like lovers fighting with each other or something like that. You know what I mean? Like most murders are stuff like that. This is a public murder that is meant to be a message for the community. In the South, lynchings almost always happen to black men, and they oftentimes happen when a black man has been accused of rape, been accused of like some kind of sexual violence. Okay, and the white people will oftentimes take him out of jail and murder him in the night. Right, and then they claim the next day, oh, he just escaped from jail. Right? How many of these black prisoners do you think are escaping from jail?
None.
Like 0, right? Yeah, I've never heard of any credible case where they actually escaped from jail, right? What do you think is actually happening?
Homicide.
Yeah, it's specifically a specific type of homicide. What ends up happening is the police officers are usually members of the KKK, right? And so the police officers are unlocking the cage, taking the black guy out, and then they murder him, right? And so it's the police officers working with other people.
Mm.
The black community in Tulsa, Oklahoma, they know this to be true. They know what's happening. They're not stupid. They know this happens all the time. They also know that 15-year-old boy, Dick Rowland, is going to die. Right? They say Dick Rowland's going to get taken out of the jail in the middle of the night, and we're going to find him hanging in a tree the next day. So, the next step.
Yeah,
What
so
were you saying, Maddie?
So I know lynching is about race, but
Yeah.
is there anything more to it, like besides just like a deep ingrained hate for people of any other race or color?
Well, yeah, there's a bunch of complicated stuff to this, right? The biggest thing you need to understand about lynching is that you're sending a political message, right? You're sending a message to the community. That's the biggest thing that you need to understand about lynching, is that it's not just murder, it's murder with a message, right?
Yeah,
you're threatening everyone else in the community. It's not always race. It is not always race. Today, the majority of the lynchings today are against transgender people, right? So today, most of the lynchings that are happening in the United States today are transgender people. Sometimes the lynching is not black people. Some, in California, they lynch Mexicans or Asians, right? Like it happens to lots of different groups, and it's not always men. Sometimes it's women, right? But it's a lot. Usually men. Black men are the most common victim. Did you have another question, Maddie? Did I cut you off?
Oh no, that was it.
Yeah. Modern day, it's a lot of transgender people and gay people. Yeah. Today it is. But in 1921, it's pretty firmly black men. That's the group who's most vulnerable. So in Tulsa, after Dick Rowland gets arrested, a group of black men from the Black Wall Street area, they come to the city hall with their guns and they demand that they be able to guard Dick Rowland to make sure that he survives through the night to go to a court. They don't want him to turn up murdered. And so they want to make sure he survives to see a judge and go to court, because they know that Dick Rowland is innocent, right? They want to protect his innocence. They want to protect him. They want to make sure he's not murdered. So they show up with their guns.
So what if like there's like a couple of people who are part of the police department, but they're also part of the KKK? Say they want to lynch him, but say there's somebody else who's part of the police department, doesn't like, they want him to live. Like, what happens? What, like?
Well, I guess it depends on the individuals, right? It depends on, it depends on if the racist KKK people are more forceful or more persuasive or whatever, because like if it's just one cop trying to speak out against 5 bad ones, then maybe he just says nothing, right? Maybe he just says nothing, or maybe he tries to defend the black person and then he gets killed too, right? Like it depends. There's a lot of different ways that it could work out. I can't give you one answer, right? It kind of depends on who the individuals are.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What we do know, though, for a fact, is that a lot of times, many, 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 many times, police officers are part of the lynching. Like a lot of the time, probably the majority of the time.
Make America great again.
Well, so the black population shows up to try to defend Dick Rowland, right? So the white population shows up with their guns, and they're saying, we're trying to defend City Hall because these black men are going to invade City Hall, right? Yeah. So now the police force is trying to stop it and make sure no one's going to start shooting each other at City Hall. And while that happens, the KKK goes into Black Wall Street and starts to burn all the buildings down.
Oh my gosh.
So they burn the buildings down, they murder the people, they start to murder lots and lots of people. This gets even further because a group of the KKK members go to the nearby army base. They get onto the army base, they take army airplanes from World War I, they fly the airplanes over Tulsa, and they bomb Tulsa, they bomb Black Wall Street using army airplanes in Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's the only time, the United States has only ever been bombed on its home soil twice. Pearl Harbor, when the Japanese bombed us in Pearl Harbor, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, when the KKK bombed us using our own planes.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That just like made my head spin.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently the people at the army were members of the KKK as well, because they let these guys in. And a lot of the KKK guys were veterans from World War I. They knew how to fly the planes. They had flown the planes in World War I. They'd flown, they flew like crop duster planes and stuff, so they knew how to fly. The result is, that about a third of Tulsa burns down. About a third of the city burns down. About 3,000 people lose their homes. We don't know an exact number, but we think the number of dead is somewhere around 1,000. We don't know the exact number, okay? When Tulsa, Oklahoma reports the number, they report that the number is like 50 people. But Black reporters and Black historians know that that's not true, right? They know the number's not 50. And so what they started doing is they would record people's witnessing, and they would say, hey, I saw this person get killed. I saw this person get killed. I saw this person get killed. They added those numbers up, and those numbers got up to about 500 or 600. And then they also started to dig up graves. And once they started digging up the graves and counting the skulls in the graves, the number is closer to 1,000.
Oh my jeez. So,
Okay.
let me guess, for some of the police interrogations,
Yeah.
let me guess, they interviewed mostly white people.
Well, yeah, for
Maybe.
the police, yeah, the police didn't really interview anybody. They only interviewed the white people. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
the
for black,
though.
yeah, black reporters later on would interview black survivors. Right. The other result is 800 people get arrested. 800 people get arrested, all of them black. Not a single white person gets arrested. Not a one.
Oh, wait a minute. That reminds me of the peaceful protest in front of the White House, but then they were pepper bombed. And that
Yeah.
also reminds me of all those KKK and white supremacist members coming up to town hall with guns and nothing happening.
Yeah, well, yeah. Sometimes this is part of American history, right?
America.
Sometimes this is part of American history. Sometimes we're an awesome place with really cool things to say. Sometimes we're not, right? Like, you know, yeah. So the result is about 600 black men. I think they're all men. I think they're all men who get arrested, but they get arrested. Some of them go to jail. Most of them go to jail for like a couple of days or a week, and then they're released. Some of them go to jail for months, and some of them go to jail for years and never get out of jail. This is the worst race massacre in American history. This is the worst one. But I want to be clear with you guys. We have one or two of these race massacres every single year for a period of about 30 years. Okay, they're usually smaller. There was one in Elaine, Arkansas just a couple of years prior to this, and that one in Elaine, Arkansas killed 500 people. There was one in Wilmington, North Carolina, and that one killed about 300 people. There was another one in Atlanta, Georgia. That one killed about 100 people. Right, this is happening a lot. Right, the one in Chicago killed 38 people. Right, so this is happening quite a bit at this time period. What happened to Dick Rowland? You should be asking, what happened to Dick Rowland? Right, so the good news is Dick Rowland survived. He survived. He was in jail. He was safe. He survived. And he goes to trial. And at the trial, Sarah Page tells the judge that she made it up.
Yeah.
She tells the judge, I made it up. I feel really bad that all this happened. I didn't mean for it to happen. I made it up.
Now she feels bad.
Well,
Jeez.
she probably should have felt bad a few days earlier.
Talk about a drama queen.
Yeah. So the judge basically just tells her, naughty, naughty, don't do that. And he tells her to go home. He says, naughty, naughty, don't do that. Tells her to go home, and then they release Dick Rowland. Rowland survives. Rowland survives. He leaves Oklahoma, and his family is gone. His house is burned down. His family is dead or gone. His house is burned down, so he just leaves. He just walks north. We do know a black newspaper tracked him down a couple of decades later. They tracked him down in the 1960s. They found him, and he had changed his name. He got married. He had kids. He lived a pretty normal life up in Missouri, and he, died an old man surrounded by loved ones. So, at least
In the 60s.
Rowland gets a good ending. Rowland gets a relatively good ending, right? If anyone can have a good ending in this story, like at least he gets a good ending. Okay, yeah. So, this is the worst case. Okay, but we have other ones that happen too. I don't. We're not going to focus on all of them, but I want you to at least know about this one, the worst one. Okay. The other big thing. Let's see. What time is it? I think we're probably going to end here.
Okay.
Yeah. So the other thing, you can put this as the next header. Put Harlem Renaissance as our next header.
As F?
Yeah, big number F. We'll put it as number F, and that's where we'll pick up next time, is with the Harlem Renaissance, okay? And so I promise next time we'll be happier. It'll be lighter and it'll be happier. It's not always going to be terrible, but I think the story of Tulsa is an important story. I think it's an important one we need, even if it's not happy.
I wish more people knew about historical events.
Yeah. I'm working on it, Maddie. I'm working on it.
You need to be faster.
All right. I am going to stop the recording.